senior rank as Senior Principal Private Secretary to President Chiluba. Mr. Mumba, welcome to the program.
Good evening, Pastor. Good evening, viewers.
And how is the family?
They're fine.
I'm so grateful.
You can say I look fine.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, allow me, on behalf of my wife, Pastor Victoria Chiluba, who is the CEO of this TV station, and on behalf of the church leadership that, of course, has been behind the establishment of this work, and on behalf of the men and women who tirelessly bring the news to you, the Camnet TV crew people, technicians, and all the newscasters, on behalf of the viewers, allow me to congratulate His Excellency the President, elect President Hakainde Hichilema. And I'm so grateful to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, for just the heart of conceding and saying we must facilitate this transition. I want to honor you, sir. I want to thank you, and may God richly bless you. Mr. Mumba, I just want, on behalf of the station, to just play this message for His Excellency, the President-elect. Mr. Director.
Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba, the board and management of Camnet TV, congratulates His Excellency, the President of the Great Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, and the UPND party on his victory as the 7th President of the Great Republic of Zambia. May God keep and bless Zambia. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Well, welcome back. Mr. Mumba,
Sir.
You have served not as a politician, but as a civil servant at the top or highest level, a Senior Principal Private Secretary to President Chiluba. You had seen the elections of President Chiluba. He's coming in, he's going out. You had seen also the coming in of President Mwanawasa. He's going out. And all these presidents up to President Hakainde Hichilema. Before you make your comments on where we are, how would you describe the elections that just ended?
First of all, before I also respond, maybe let me take this opportunity to congratulate the incoming president, the 7th President of the Republic of Zambia, President Hakainde Hichilema, on his deserved victory. We wish him well. We wish him God's providence, protection, and blessings. I think in the same vein, I wish also to congratulate His Excellency President Edgar Lungu for keeping the Zambian tradition of conceding defeat and handing over power peacefully. I think that is what Zambia is known for. That is what Zambia is renowned for. And I'm very happy that for a third time it has happened. And I think we've had peaceful elections. And I think we'll be having a peaceful transition. So I also congratulate the people of Zambia for that history and for that achievement. Yeah. Coming to your question, Pastor, I think I can describe these elections in one word. Historical. Very historical. Perhaps only second to the 1991 presidential elections which we had, in which I think the winning candidate got about 80%, President Chiluba. And this one looks like another 1991, but just the scale is a bit lower. So it's an historical election, Pastor.
Why have you left SATA's historical performance? Because I thought when you look at the numbers
Yeah.
and everything, and for a single person from the bedroom to bring down the sitting government, and when you look at the numbers, the margins that he won, I'm tending to think that this is the third historical.
Maybe President Sata might be the third, because President Sata, although I was a civil servant, I was part of government. So he beat us by 200,000 votes, if you remember. This one is 1 million, so. But it is also historical because it's not easy to defeat a sitting president because of the system, the advantage of incumbents. So maybe let me agree with you. I think we have had 3 historical elections at which incumbent presidents have lost, and there's been a peaceful transition of power. So I agree, Pastor. It's 3. King Cobra, President Chiluba, and now President Hichilema. Yeah.
In your own view, I know you are not a monitor. I don't know what the international observers have said about this. Were the elections peaceful, or there were some pockets of violence, including death somewhere?
I think the elections were peaceful. Because, yes, first of all, so let me offer my condolences to the family of Jackson Kungo, who was the provincial chair for PFP Northwestern Province. He's a young man I know very well. And
You knew him personally?
at very personal level, yeah. He's a very, and apparently I voted in Solwezi. And he came to the polling station at which we were voting, and we greeted each other.
That same day?
Yes, in the morning, he came there. And you know, I served as permanent secretary there. So everyone calls me PS. So he says, PS, you are here? I said, yes. I said, I've come to vote from here. No, but why don't you go just sneak in at me? I just went, come quietly, vote, then vanish. So it was sad that barely 6-7 hours later, he died, and my condolences to his family. But that was a very isolated case.
But before you,
Yeah.
maybe because you were close there, there are a lot of stories about his death. I'm told he had the pre-marked ballot papers. And when they went to the vehicle, they didn't find anything. Or what would you say to that?
First of all, I was not on the spot. I'd already started off driving back when I got a call that Kungo had been killed from some other friends. What I hear, they suspected that, and I don't want to say much because I'm sure the police are investigating these matters. They suspected that he had come to interfere with whatever they thought he had come to interfere. And he was with a colleague, because earlier on at that polling station, I think they had some drama. Now, the UPND cadres went and camped there to try and protect their vote. Now, apart from those, then there were just other people who were hovering around there. What one sees in that killing, it was a mob psychology, really. And you can't point it exactly at one particular group of people. Because if you look at that video which even went viral, those are young people who don't even vote. They just got into the heat of things. Yeah. So for me, whatever reason he went there for is not very clear. But again, I don't think that without the police investigating properly, we should be able to give an accusing finger to anybody at this stage, because the young people attacked him. You can see they were very young.
I'm told 6 have been picked up.
Yes, I hear so.
And they are in custody
Yes.
to help facilitate with the investigations.
Yes, sir. So I think for me, the emotions were very high that day. And maybe there was need for certain people to express some, to restrain the certain movements and certain activities. It is a regrettable death in my view, because he died among his brothers, which is very unfortunate. Yeah. So I was saying that apart from that isolated incident of that death,
And the Kanyama incident.
and the Kanyama incident, which I'm not very privy to, compared to the many elections we have had, this one was peaceful, very peaceful. I drove from Solwezi up to Lusaka. People went about their activities, their business as usual. In every election, Pastor, there will always be 1 or 2 people who disagree or fight or just quarrel, but that wouldn't classify that election as violent. Unless if you ask me, was it free and fair? My answer is certainly no. It wasn't free and fair. Yeah.
Well, you and I want to go that route.
Yeah.
Because for obvious reasons,
Yes.
that we are not monitors,
Yeah.
and we don't have things on the ground.
Yeah.
But let's come to the fact that we've gone through this election. Did you listen to the president's address today?
Yes, I did. I did, and that's recommendable.
What are some of the things that you picked from there? Because I say this, I've always wondered, why is it that when this one wins, this one comes to revenge on this one comes to revenge on that one? Like in Africa, that's our trend, but President Hakainde Hichilema says we are not coming for anybody. We are coming to build Zambia. What would you make of this?
That was good, and I was happy because, first of all, being a president is a very huge responsibility, and the president must always be seen to arise above board. Because you have all this country to look after. You have all these people you are like a king or a chief. So at the end of the day, it's very important that the president assures the nation, as he did, and it takes magnanimity for one to say what he said this morning. And I hope that that is the spirit in which we must move forward. Because what is at stake now is the country, our economy. We have a lot of economic challenges. So I'm sure the president wants to pay more attention to the economic challenges we face, so that at the end of the day, the promises the president has given the people of Zambia, which has made him go to State House, are realized to the benefit of all the Zambians. And I think that is what we're all looking for. Yeah.
And by the special grace of God, I know last time you told me you are a deacon.
I'm an elder.
An elder?
Yes.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
You told me you are an elder. From the Christian perspective, how should we handle this election as a church?
The election or the results?
I mean the results.
The results.
Yeah.
First of all, leadership comes from God. And each leader is given the opportunity by God himself. If God has not ordained you to be president, no matter how long you try, it will not work. But if God has ordained you to be such a one, it will come to pass. So we as a church, we preached about these things, we prayed about these things, as far as I'm concerned, God has given us a leader. And when God gives us a leader, we must support that leader, we must pray for him, and we must encourage him. The church should never take a partisan stance. For a church, God has answered our prayers because we were praying for God's will. We were saying, may your will be done. May you give us a leader. You want us to steer the country. If it's the company to continue, may your will be done. If you give us a new leader, may your will be done. And he has given us a leader. So for a church, and I may not speak for other churches, but as a member of the church, our role is to accept that every leader comes from God. And our role is to pray for them, advise them, and give them the support they need. Yeah.
I'm saying this, Mr. Director, please prepare to give us 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 1 and 2. But before you give us those verses, I had the opportunity to interview President HH last year, if you remember.
Yes, I do.
And there are some pertinent questions that I asked him, which the church had, these views about him. And even his friends from the inner circle had these views. And I basically drew the questions from the church, from his friends, so that the people may know who HH is. May I say, Mr. Mumba, I'm so grateful to the Lord because the work of a pastor, like you said, you don't take sides. You see, right now, we have President Lungu. He's a soul. We have President HH. He's a soul. So as leaders of the church, once, it's not that you can't vote. My wife and I voted. But never will I stand in this church and tell anybody and say, vote for this one. Or raise the voice to say, this leader is like this leader is like this. No. So, I am so grateful to the Lord what you have brought, because I'm a firm believer that if the church is not careful, we can mislead the people. During the campaign, I heard those that would say, I'm a Christian for Lungu, I'm a Christian for HH, all sorts of confusion, So I want us to look at this scripture. Before we go into the details, by the way, I want my director to give me this scripture. I urge then, first of all, that requests, prayers, intercessions, and thanksgiving be made for everyone. This is a command. We pray for everyone. For kings and all those in authority, that we may live peaceful and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness. Just up to there, my director. For kings and all those in authority. Verse 1 says, we pray for these people, not to pray against. I know there are cantankerous prophets that have risen in Zambia, in Nigeria, they just say anything the mouth finds fit to bring out. But you find that you are praying against this leader, or praying against that leader, or for this leader. That's not the will of God. The Bible there encourages us, Mr. Mumba, to pray for those in leadership. Yes. Because our role is to live a peaceful and quiet life.
No, I agree with you, Pastor. Like the scripture says, we must be very careful sometimes. Of course, I understand that, but from being elders, being pastors, reverends, we live in this world. So sometimes the temptation is there to try and say certain things, And it also depends from where you are speaking. I come from Northwestern myself, and if you heard people from Northwestern pastors saying certain things, maybe it's because of what the province went through. Now, you are leading members in this church who are part of this country, who are seeing certain things not coming their way, who can't see their people being appointed, who can't see their people getting involved, who can't see development. So you start getting this, and the temptation sometimes becomes high. But I think it's a question of drawing lines. This is the church. Certain things cannot be brought to the pulpit, cannot be brought in the church. Maybe we can discuss them outside. So sometimes you can overrun, maybe, overrun your line. But I think with God's grace, you can try to stay in your lane. But I tell you, sometimes certain situations become a bit trickier. So it's not an easy situation, Pastor. It's very difficult. Like I'm saying, Northwestern really was left out. So you find that everyone on the street was talking. So you don't want to be left out as a pastor, maybe as a civic leader, maybe as a royal highness. So you have to speak. But I think what is important is, let's know, where do I say what? Because in the church, there are several party groupings. This one belongs to my party, which is MMD. You know, I'm still MMD. This one belongs to UNIT. This one belongs to PF. This one belongs to UPND. Now, if you are going to single out one political party or one leader and attack that leader, you are attacking part of your members who believe in that leader. And the way you may be seeing things as a pastor or as an elder may not be the way your members who belong to that political party are seeing things. So for me, maybe it's just important that politics are kept out of the church. You remember when I was here last time, I was saying there's a trend I observe. Some division in our men of God. There's a group, when the sitting president says something which is not correct, wrong or right, they'll still support him. When an opposition leader says something wrong or right, they'll still support. So now you find that you pick a leader. If I am a president of a political party, whether I've said the wrong thing or a right thing, because Pastor Chiluba is a colleague of mine, he's my brother, he's my pastor, he's my friend, we have come a long way, you can't rebuke me. But if my opponent does something wrong, you are the first one to rebuke that. Now, people, we or flock, we're able to see that. You see, so what one would like to see is objectivity. If a pastor is to speak openly about this leader, he should also be ready to speak openly about another leader. Then when you balance, then we, your members, will respect you. Because you remember, the president at State House did this, the pastor spoke out against it. This opposition leader has said this, our pastors too spoken against it. Then you are balanced. And if the president has done a positive thing, you must speak out and encourage him and congratulate him or praise him. Again, if a leader of a political party has done something positive, again, speak out. But we seem to have pastors, most of them, not all of them, who appear to be aligned to one political thought. Now they become also like their political parties, or it's like some of our NGOs. You can clearly see this NGO is pro-government or this NGO is pro-opposition. So each time you see them on TV, if you not, ababena,
You are leaving the musicians.
musicians, I don't want to go there because they've told us themselves
That they are
they are
there
in business
to make money.
to make money. If you hire them to sing a song, they'll sing a song and it ends there. Of course, you can bring up other arguments, but I don't want to go
Yeah.
there. So for me, what I'm saying, we must be objective. You know, if today I'm running an NGO, let me objective. Not my NGO, lyonse mstafi agree na imwe. Umaka watampa wapwa, whatever you say is always correct. What another man says is always wrong. Now, even when mukesa landefya mano, na supporter, those people who don't support you will not even listen to you because they will say, but if I'm balanced, then the people give me respect. So that when you say something sensible and I support you, the people will say, for that man to support this is objective. So in the men of our caller, what we pray for? Objectivity. Yeah.
I'm so grateful, Mr. Mumba. I said that because this thing bothers me. You know my position. You and I come a long way.
Yeah,
When I say a long way,
It's a long way
you
indeed.
saw how I served under President Kaunda,
Yeah.
how I served under
Yeah.
President Chiluba.
Yes.
And for your information, just this evening, I thought that I should call on the president. I called on His Excellency, the President-elect, and he was gracious enough.
Yeah.
Picked up my call, and we chatted. I congratulated him. I called His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, but I'm sure you are so busy that the phone went unanswered up to this meeting.
But you should also call my father, His Excellency President Rupia Banda. I think he's doing a fantastic job.
Of course.
Yeah, I'll be happy if you also called him to say thank you very much, Your Excellency. I've already spoken to him myself.
I'll visit
But I
him.
think that it's important that when the president, like our father, President Banda, plays a role we have seen him play this time around, that we acknowledge.
You know,
And
Dr.
the-
Mr. Mumba, traditionally again, you are saying our father. For me to pick up a phone and say, you know, to my father, I think courtesy demands that my wife and I go and visit. Vafyash.
You know, allow you to move for Kamuku Amona, so that
So it is very important. But he has played a
Culture,
fantastic
no, we are
job.
very, very grateful.
Is our surviving father, isn't
Yes.
it? Among the presidents, is a
Yes,
surviving
and for Zambia,
elder.
in the absence of Dr. Kaunda, we all look to him, Chikolwe. So I think for me, I'm very happy that he stood in for the country and he did that which is very important and critical to our survival. Yeah.
I want to ask critical questions,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mumba. Just over these elections, you tend to hear a lot of regrets, people making comments, this and that, especially about presidents. Let me say something, and it should remain on record. And I'll say it very clearly and very nicely.
Okay.
You see, I saw President Chiluba come in power. I didn't see Dr. Kaunda, I was only 4 years.
Okay.
But I saw
We were not there ourselves.
Yeah.
We just yet he came into power.
I saw President Chiluba come into power. The jubilation, the people that were there. I saw President Mwanawasa come into power. I saw President Rupia Banda come into power. And I also saw President Michael Chilufya Sata and the outgoing president, Rupia Banda, President
Lungu.
Edgar Chagwa Lungu. And now I am seeing President-elect Hakainde Hichilema. Here's the question. Why is it that these people, when they are coming in power, there is jubilation, there is fear, there is respect, there is everything. But towards the end, people start disrespecting the presidents. Why?
It's a tough one. Maybe let me put it this way. The jubilations I recall, which were big, was when President Frederick Chiluba came into power. Then I think there was no big issue when President Mwanawasa came into power. There was no big issue when President Rupia Banda came into power. But there was a lot of jubilation when President Michael Sata came into power. And I saw a lot of jubilation this morning. Somebody called me to say that there are a lot of people at State House. That was around 03. So I drove there, and I found a lot of young people there. There was a lot of jubilation. For me, you allow me to be honest on this one. People got fed up with KK. And unless you ask me why, when he left, they celebrated. I think people got fed up with MMD and ourselves, and they celebrated. In all honesty, I think people got fed up with PF and they celebrated their departure. Unless we tell ourselves certain facts, maybe to not help, I think there was an element of carelessness in the way our friends handled our issues. So it is that sense of relief that Ababa. And when you flip the coin also, it is the hope of what you are expecting. If you remember, the campaign of 2021 was in two parts. Zambians were talking about hunger, and we could hear it in Sala and the cost of living. Our leaders were talking about infrastructure. So there was no connection there. Because my uncle in Kasempa, who is suffering because there is no medicine in the hospital, where he stays, minibuses can't go there because there is no road, then he can't access fertilizer. He's complaining about all these things. Then you are telling him, not Kulemisebu. There's no road in Kasempa to talk about. So there was a mismatch because what people were talking about and what our leaders were talking about. If my child is not going to university because you have removed tuition fees, you can't be telling me about a flyover bridge. So those are a total mismatch. Eh?
May I say something there, Mr. Mumba? My wife and I were privileged to be in Rufunsa some 3-4 months ago.
Yes.
We went to see our friend Bishop John Mambo. And
how is he by now?
He's very fine. I haven't spoken to him.
You know, he's the one who married me.
Who married you off?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I respect.
So we went to visit him. But beyond where Bishop Mambo is, we drove some kilometers in the bush with my wife and some what are they called? The advisors to the chief or whatever, the headmen. My heart was struck. Thank God we had a Pajero, Mr. Mumba. We went from the tarmac 21 kilometers this way. There is no clinic. Beyond where we were, to some place, there is no clinic. And the headman is saying, Pastor Chiluba, Look at the road we've had since 1964. There is no road. So people die on the way while they are going to give birth. Others when you are taking them to the clinic. So from those points, when you go in the bush, you and I can talk about the flyover bridges, but those people, when you go in the bush, and I've been privileged to visit some other remote areas, you can cry. So when people say people can't eat roads, how I wish that credit also could be given, like in the words of President Michael Chilufya-Sata. One day I said, sir, why are you just concentrating on this? He says, Pastor Chuba, you don't understand. You see, you cannot have a situation where people come from Chipata, they come to Lusaka, then go to Nakonde. You need to cut the road to that side. One, you are cutting on fuel, you are cutting on time. So he also talked about we need stadiums, because when we have one in Livingstone, one in Chipata, we can host the Africa Cup. He was giving his projection. It made a lot of sense. But in the process, while you are making those roads, people are still eating, people are still dying from hunger and a lot of things. I think, like you said, we just need to find a balance to appreciate the infrastructure, because development, you go to the UK, you've been in most countries, even in a village, you find a tarmac.
Yes. Maybe let me clarify what I was saying.
Yeah.
Here's a guy whose child is not going to school because you have removed the meal allowance and that kind of stuff. And that is what they are crying about. So as much as you are trying to talk about a road, attempt to respond to what the cry is. So what I was trying to say is that when the cry is not being responded to, and another leader comes and says, I am going to do A, B, C, D. So when that leader wins, your jubilation is not necessarily that that leader has won. Your jubilation, and I heard some young people who were being interviewed, was that so they were celebrating.
When after this?
This morning, when they were celebrating, they were being interviewed on Diamond TV this morning. So the celebration is that sense of fulfillment that, oh, abatu alerandati, tatukwete nchito, valeranda pamisevu. Ababale tuebati, tukesa mipele nchito. So, if you see these celebrations, even KK, we fought KK ourselves. And we had issues with KK. So when he was defeated, we were not celebrating Chiluba's victory as Chiluba. We went on the streets ourselves with my friends now. All of us, I don't know that we can run on the streets. We were doing that in a belief that that which MMG was promising,
jobs,
it will be done. 2011, PF President Michael Sata was talking about lower taxes, more money in the pockets, and our people thought, Kachinga wale mnatukana boka tantamba market, mafora free money in my pockets. So whatever my father was saying, President for Zambians, the 10 points plan, it was Latin, Muma Tuyama Zambians. Because wale monenda lama in their pockets. So when it happened, everyone celebrated. Even Yapa. No one argues, Pastor, that infrastructure is important. But it must be balanced with certain things. I went to the University of Zambia. If Kaunda removed meal allowances, I would have gone back to Kitu. It's as simple as that. You know, but there was certain...
You were having free.
Everything was free. And what we have said over the years, maybe a mechanism can be found that once you have finished your university or college education, like we are saying now, this is a loan facility. Why don't you give the same meal allowances as part of the loan? Then to punish them in Nsala. Then I saw the young man, who is the president of Unzasu, going to talk about the offense. And I said, is that how we have sung? University. He was student leader wabo, uleranda pali office. Now that was the mismatch. Infrastructure is important. Secondly also, again, you know me, I don't believe in these tribal things. But as a Northwesterner, we didn't see that infrastructure ourselves. We didn't see it. Every boarding school in Northwestern, it's what President Banda left. There's no single boarding school which has been built from 2011. There is no single township road which has been done. There is no single hospital which has been done. Lumana Hospital, President Banda. So when you come to Northwestern and you are telling us we have rolled out the infrastructure, we have left no one behind, we don't believe you. So when another person says, Inenga na Isa, the development you have been denied, I'll come and do your township roads. I'll bring you a university like other people. When that person wins, that is why there's jubilation in Northwestern. What am I trying to say? People go into the streets because of what they're expecting. Whether what they're expecting you transform into reality or not, that's a story for another day.
But the question, Mr. Mumba, just talking about Northwestern itself, had PF built schools, hospitals, and what? Were the people of Western Province going to vote for PF?
The situation would have been different. They may not have gotten the votes. I mean, if that was done, Northwestern maybe would have been divided, like other provinces. If you have seen, UPND is winning some, PF is winning some. But if that was done, yes, it would have been done. That, maybe let me even digress a bit about Southern Province, because I have heard people saying, we must trace the problem. In 2011, President Banda got a quarter of the votes in Southern Province. I don't know, a quarter of what HH got in Southern Province. It was the same HH standing. It was President Rupia Banda from Eastern Province. President Banda got about 71,000 votes. HH about 240, I think. King Cobra about 24,000. Along the way, these zeros we are seeing, they are a new phenomenon. But we must not just condemn our friends. We must ask ourselves why. You can't, for 3, 6, 1 year, insult your friends. Tonga's this, Tonga's that. They are human beings, past. Now we put them on the defense. But what is good about these elections? Zambians have said not tribalism. You can see the voting pattern. And I can guarantee you, next elections, if God will allow us to be there, I don't think there will be anybody who will get 0 in Southern Province. Maybe you can record that to come and remind me. So everything we must be careful what we call each other. If I'm going to insult you, a pastor, from morning to night, when you slap me, I must not change and say, pastor kutuwa nguma shani urupi. Atina kanyerele kenenga wa Kalachita. So I thought I should say this. What was observed, where we targeted our brothers and sisters from Southern, we put them on their defense. They couldn't pick guns, they couldn't pick spears, they picked votes.
I think on that one, I will reserve the comments
of the past.
Of the pastor.
Yes.
Like I said, I'm a pastor.
Yes.
Reserving the comments in that, you see, I don't think that development can go 24/7. In 5 years, you develop all the countries. Somebody just called and said, why is it that the people of Nalolo have given President Edgar Lungu no votes when the vice president comes from there. You know, when you begin to hear those questions, I've never been to Nalolo, I've never been to Mongo. I don't know the developments that have taken place. But me, I can't go into that to pursue. Those issues are too big for me. As a pastor, I will only end up where I can only handle. But that said, Mr. Mumba, let me put it on record again. 5 years after President Hakainde Hichilema has finished his term, or 10 years after he has finished his term, I want to put it on record from the biblical point of view, because me, I'm a student of the Bible. Jesus said, the poor will always be with you.
Of course, of course.
No single president will employ all the Zambians.
No.
No single president or party will finish poverty and hunger. You can reduce, I'm not saying that you can't do things differently. Certain things, it's our own making. You understand?
Yeah.
It's because of maybe negligence here, no proper management there, no what and what. Certain things, they are of our own making. Okay?
Yes, I agree.
When somebody says, Mr. Mumba, you are corrupt, there has to be an investigation. In Bemba, we say that, or in English,
Say it in Bemba so that people can follow. We are Zambians.
No, I want to speak it in English, that there is no smoke without fire. When people say Mr. Mumba is corrupt, it's up to me, it's up to the system to engage you and dig to the root until you are exonerated.
Yeah.
I don't believe in just keeping quiet over certain things. You know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I can assure you, Mr. Mumba, and I want to say this categorically here, because me, you have known me. I don't go sideways or what. That's how God created me.
Yes.
I said
And
this,
it's good that way.
I said this when Mr. Sata followed me. You remember?
Yes, I do.
I said when President Chilwa was coming, I said, listen, without God, MMD will not finish the problems. You remember? I
Yes,
transmitted
I do.
that from...
I do.
And President Sata, may he so rest in peace, he comes and says, who are you? He followed me home. That's how we became close friends with President Sata. Because me, Mr. Mumba, I fail. I'm referring to you because you and I come a long way.
A long way.
I fail
I appreciate you.
to tell you that what you are wearing is the cream
When
it's black.
Yes.
That's a problem I have. I'll tell you it's black. So whether you like me or not.
You have stated the fact, yes.
Yeah, that said, Mr. Mumba, I think the mindset of Zambians should change. When my wife and I sit on this set talking about agriculture,
And we watch, yes.
and how we can transform our lives, I can assure you, some of the people who are celebrating the most, they are poor now. 10 years after, they will even be worse than they were today. If we don't have a renewed mindset to say, okay, President Hakainde can't finish all our problems. Let's support him by Zambians getting involved. Get land. Do something. Do something. Youths, don't just wait for white-collar jobs.
Because they're no longer there.
They are no longer there. Get land and do something. But the moment you say that, Mr. Mumba, you are seen as an enemy of the party, either the government or what. But these things are real.
No, it shouldn't be. Just commenting on developments past. Yes, I agree. Development can't take place at one time or every at once. Maybe we should go back to Kaunda's system. Kaunda would say, maybe we should have health centers. And they'll put in the budget for that particular year, a budget to have health centers in all the locations. If they say maybe where there are 50,000 people, there must be a clinic. They will roll out that program at once. You see? If they say, maybe we need an additional secondary schools, maybe in a population of so many people, we put, and they roll out the whole country. So when you do that, even if you have just built schools or just clinics, nothing else, we will be able to say, but this issue where you see, in District A, you build a modern hospital, a modern boarding school. In District B, completely zero. Now, that is not about the period you have. It's about your choice of where to take development. And that's why we are saying, if it is the money we don't have, then let's be agreeing that we only have so much little money. What is it that, because it's like human and now chepapang and our pastor. You can't say, because there are only 3 pieces of chicken, 2 children or who sleep without eating, I'll give you the other 2. No. If the pieces are not enough, cut them into 2, so that every child must have a piece. And that is my prayer, even as we go forward now. And I'm being very honest, I may be misunderstood. I think what we saw the last 5-7 years should not be seen going forward. A government must look after every citizen. A government must develop every district, every province. All Zambians have been to school. If it's heading parastatals, we must see that balance. If it's heading boards, we must see that balance. If it's appointing civil servants, what would you say, Pastor? That a province like Northwestern, no single permanent secretary in any of the ministries, apart from the one in Solwezi. We can't develop a country like that. There must be fairness in what we do. These are natural resources. We all pay tax. We must distribute development fairly. Even now, I'm happy the president has talked about it. And we hope we'll see it. We don't want to hear ukunomba, because tamavotere, you know, and some of us behind the scene, who query? What's going on? Yo, nakavoted wekano. Now, that doesn't help the country. So even in these schemes where we are talking about, if we're having youth schemes, yes, we can encourage the young people because there are no jobs. But even in youth schemes, if you go to the Ministry of Youth today, where these empowerment youth funds distributed nationally? No. They were targeted somewhere, others not. So that doesn't help the country. So we must have national programs. Like what you are saying, I love what program you are saying the other day. We have been saying these things. So we must now get these things out to the provinces. There must be a national program which is rolled out everywhere. When Keke brought the National Youth Service, he rolled it everywhere, and everyone benefited. And this is the right time, actually, Pastor, to start telling our young people that, yes, they can celebrate the whole night if they don't work hard themselves. They will be celebrating again 10 years or 5 years from now because they will be looking for another promise. So I agree with you. Programs must be rolled out and rolled out in a very clear manner and in a very honest manner, in a manner everyone will understand. So that at the end of the day, all youths in Zambia, we should not only talk, because you see a mismatch between pronouncements and then you give 2, 3, parade them on TV. Sometimes we deceive ourselves. So it must be a national program. And it goes with our educational system. My kids go to a private school in Lusaka. You know how many of our kids subjects they are doing at Cambridge level? 3 to 4 subjects. Because they pick the children in what they love. If I will send my daughter one day, You come and interview on agriculture, you'll be shocked. Because she has that passion, the school is targeting her into that field. But our educational system, 10 subjects. Ufayo kuba doctor, bale kufunda art, literature, history. Ufayo kuba journalist, bale kufunda physics,
biology.
So we don't seem to be very organized. Equally, there are no jobs. What is it that we are teaching in our schools now? How are we, these exams they write, same theory, 5 legs of Canada. Let's teach abana carpentry, fine agriculture, mulelanda, so that, but it must be a national program. It must not be an ad hoc program. There has been a lot of empowerment programs the last 6 months. We don't want that. Programs must run throughout. If there is a national program for the youth, let us be very clear. Let there be a clear budget. Let there be a clear roadmap, so that at the end of 5 years, a party in government will be saying, we rolled out this program. After 5 years, these are the results. Number doku, you go campaign this side, they don't even know.
But what I feel, Mr. Mumba, there is something we are missing here as a nation. I'll be frank with you. You talk about Northwestern, that it's the province that has not been developed, which I agree with you. There are no projects. But when you look northern Muchinga, or let's take southern, which you talked about, there are a lot of projects that were done, which have come up. But you find maybe the incumbent has 200 votes, and the president-elect has 48,000. That kind of imbalance, when you begin seeing that, you start saying, when are we going to come together as a nation? Such that you, Mr. Mumba, from Northwestern province, you go to Dundumwezi and stand as an MP, they will vote for you not on the basis of what the province holds, but on what Mr. Mumba holds. I think we should go to that level. As a pastor, again, Mr. Mumba, I fear that if we don't believe in God, we don't teach the love of God, we don't teach, these things will be cycles. You know, they will be repeating themselves. I'll give you an example of one boy. Me, I don't support any team in England. No.
Then you can join, I support Arsenal.
No, I'll tell you. I don't support any team in England.
Yeah.
I support Barcelona. That is my team. But the moment this boy, Patson Daka, has gone to Leicester,
we are all Leicester.
I've become a Leicester supporter.
All of us.
So each time I'm scrolling, I want to see whether Leicester is playing. You see what I'm saying? Now, which university did Leicester Patson Daka go to?
Nothing.
Does anyone have the history? Who was his teacher? Which university? But that single boy with his friend Mwepu, as God gives them the grace and the talent, the ability to be there for 20 years, they will contribute to the GDP of this nation.
Oh, yes,
you know what footballers can do? Like Messi, getting millions, Ronaldo, and all this. So, in short, Mr. Mumba, my wife and I teach, as Camnet TV viewers here, presenters, let's not burden the government with jobs. Everyone crying, we want jobs, we want jobs.
They are not there.
They are not there. It's like presidents. Every January they go with a begging bowl to Europe. We want supplementary loan here and there. It's not necessary. Zambia is so rich, Mr. Mumba, that if we just come down here, all of us, and say, let's plan, we have no need to beg from Europe. We have no need at all. And like you are saying, this education system,
Maybe let me just comment on two things, Pastor.
Yeah.
The 200 votes versus 40,000. And again, we must be very honest with ourselves. These projects, we must not politicize them.
No, they should not be politicized.
And we
I'm
must,
just talking about
yes,
what
no,
you
I'm
are
trying
saying,
to explain something, yes.
that in Northwestern,
Yes.
why we voted like this, because there was no. So I'm just giving an example to look
That's
at.
what I'm trying to relate. I'll give you the project. The one His Excellency President Lungu opened recently in the power one.
Yeah.
That was President Mwanawasa's project. But we have this, we don't acknowledge to say, this thing, it was started by this person, and we have taken it up. Well, that's what must happen. But when you want to use it for political expediency, then we want to claim ownership of something we have inherited. And that's why we are saying we must be honest with ourselves as a country and as a people. When you go to Southern Province and you point at something you haven't started, which one was not signed by you, which was not commissioned, which was not groundbreaked by you, then you go and say, we have given you this vote for us. I think we're being deceitful. I will tell you something. I was in Ifue. There's a very critical bridge there where we pay some people some more advance and abandon the bridge. And there was the media when they were doing that. That bridge is abandoned. When the campaigns came, cameras went there, we have released so much. You know this bridge will cost you 40 million, you release 3 million. Now you start saying people in Imambo are not grateful. We gave them a bridge. Has that bridge been?
No.
So what I'm saying, Pastor, is these projects, yes, people appreciate. But I think they must be honest in when we are doing these projects. Because these are national projects. Or I'm saying, Pastor, let us have a plan. Like I'm saying, if we want to route these bridges, can we roll them in genuine? Not that, no, because the elections coming, or by-elections coming, or Kulundazi, Takwa Musebo, so let's now make a road in a hurry.
But, Mr. Mumba, let's look at Obama, not here.
Yes.
I'll go to Obama.
Yes, our brother.
I'll go to Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
I'll go to developed countries. Politicians are the same everywhere. Certain things they do, which you do as politicians.
I'm a civil servant.
You are a civil servant. Certain things they do is to win the heart of the people. America, Britain, they will tell you we are doing this, we are making America great again. Yes, we can. Everyone comes.
But do you know what the difference is, Pastor?
Let me finish.
Yes.
Everyone comes with this. Politicians, I don't want to point fingers at them because I'm old enough to know.
Who said what I did do?
From President Kaunda to now, and I pray that God will give me grace to live and beyond. Politicians, they will say certain things they will fulfill them, certain things they won't. But what I would want, Mr. Mumba, you and I, sitting here on Cabinet TV, which is not just another channel, I would like you to say something to Northwestern Province, Southern Province, Eastern, all the 10 provinces, say something how we, as nationals, are going to help the government. I think once we begin taking that route, because I know, I am so grateful to President-elect this morning. In his speech, he said we are going to develop this nation in diversity. He didn't say, I am. He said we. He included, and he invited you and me to contribute to the development of this nation. I think I like that. When we just leave it on Bali to say, Bali, you fix it. You fix it.
It's not possible.
It's not possible. Let's change our mentality. Let's tell the people, okay, while Bali is fixing it, who is buying the screws? Who is going to bring
No,
the
I'm
hammer?
going to do that.
We should get involved as a nation. I think this is my message.
I agree, Pastor. I'm going to do that. But just a rider to that is that, yes, even in America, it's a program. I'll give an example of President Mwanawasa. From the word go, those of us who were in government, within 3-4 months, we knew that it was no longer business as usual. My colleagues in State House, if, and I'm sure they are listening, if you took an internal memo in a new envelope to President Mwanawasa, you're in trouble. He says that's wastefulness. There are so many letters you receive here. Cancel what is written there and write in the corner, Your Excellency, and bring it. So from the word go, he did set the tone. From the word go, he said agriculture is a priority. And you saw what happened. From the word go, he said misuse of resources, no more. I'll tell you a very short story. When we went to North Korea, first of President Mwanawasa said, because there's what we call a close party. Those people who sleep at the same hotel with either the president or the vice. Whether the room is $400, $500, you have to sleep there. So that you can't pay from your allowance. So now that was being paid for by the state. So Mwanawasa says, we can't give you, we pay for your accommodation and everything, and we give you a full allowance. We'll be giving you half. Those who are not on close party, they get the full allowance. We traveled to North Korea with the Honorable Pando Map, and we accommodated at a very beautiful guest house in the bush, and vehicles are withdrawn, but it was very nice. It was for free for everybody, including those who were given full allowances. The delegation was about 53. So me, I want to mention names. The PSCs we were together. I said, no, these other guys are also staying here without paying, but they have full allowances. We are staying here without paying, but have full allowances. So let us pay ourselves like them. And we told his honor, and he didn't seem to. So we paid ourselves. Just like the other people. We came back to Zambia. 2 days later, we all received letters from the president, starting with the vice president himself. And the president says, that was wastefulness. What you should have done is to collect the halves from the other people. Those who got full rates, they should have surrendered half of their allowances back to the accountant. And we were given 3 days to pay back that money. And we paid.
By President Mwanawasa?
Yes, he ordered all of us. And he said, either you pay back or you have no job. And this is the last time this nonsense has happened. I hear it again. You're out. What am I saying? Programs which start and you mean well and they run out through the... Now, the issue of Zambians, I think we'll keep talking, Pastor. Like you have said, Barry cannot fix it alone. It is we ourselves to work very hard. We have to work hard. I think we have a traditional problem of not working hard. I am an entrepreneur, and I employ people. The work culture is strange. Every funeral is theirs. Nangongo fika kondoka le kalipa. Akala chitalimpu in a very exaggerated manner. Elo ngakumona we achira enda fe wino. Ngakumona yo nombo kutampo achinja na facial appearance. So mwe batikabye kunganda. I think we don't want to work. That's a fact. And even when we work, I have supervised civil servants myself. We don't work to add value. We just work to appear kunchito. That's why every Friday, I'm a civil servant.
Every Friday.
Yes. Saturday. Friday. So the amount of time we allocate to working is very limited. Something which you can do up to 19 hours, 16:30 at your while, yes. We must learn from our friends from West Africa. One friend came from West Africa here. He says, you know, where I come from, weekends, we go to the villages to go and cultivate, grow food.
Even in Kenya, yeah.
And in Nigeria, I think. So our friends, weekends, they look forward to go and do work. If for weekends, we look forward
to drink.
So unless we change our working culture, we seem to love too much drinking, not too sana, kulala sana, any simple opportunity, kulala, long weekend, we have learned, even in Lusaka we have learned, me I'm a farmer pastor. Even this morning, we must learn to work hard. Yes, government can only provide the platform, maybe the environment, but the actual person to realize your dream is not bad. That we have to be very clear. And again, like I said last time, even we our parents, we seem to be strict on other people's children, ours not. And we think, so the best is, you find that we have these smaller businesses we do. What is the involvement of our children there? Because that's the first college they're in. Now, when a child leaves my home at 2022, so it's up to us as Zambians. And this we must preach as leaders in the churches. Me in my church, I do these entrepreneurship seminars. I go around our churches and I've said, even the issue of capital, it's the mental, the mindset, which is not there. So even now, they're expecting the president to create jobs for them. Some will be created, but some we must help ourselves create the jobs. I tell people on the streets, umuntu alife physically fit. Anaweza kumotoka lelo mbenda na mene shwapela. Mbewa fena tina. Na nena alikuwa tawa yama wa monekanga iwe. Wale lima kusoro ezuko. Na imweka limeni. So I think we have to change that. Let people work at and wealth yaba mulandi. Nestalirale tutipa tatu ewe that karombeni pakulia from land.
Vamumba, if you're to learn, I think this is the language you and I should come to. Yeah. Truthfully speaking, you know, we are deforming people in their minds. I have a person here, my wife is listening to this broadcast. 4 hectares of land. 4 hectares of land. That person is generating about 75,000 kwacha per month. 75,000 per month. Which job as a civil servant can give you 75,000 kwacha? But when we tell people, look, 1st of October and 2nd of October, we have this conference.
I've been waiting.
You'll be so blessed. I can tell you.
And in Solwezi, I don't know whether you went. Pastor Jibusha, I don't know whether he called
Pastor Jibusha, he called.
He's been asking.
No, we are going to Solwezi.
So please, he wants to be involved. And no. Me, if it's here in Lusaka, I will come. If it's on the, you know me, I'm a copper-built person. So wherever you want me, I'll be there.
My parents from Solwezi have been calling. Yeah. Vamumba, I can tell you, while we leave Bali sorting out issues for the nation, Zambians, we should individually be creative. I can tell you, Vamumba, I don't understand how somebody with 10 hectares can live the land. I've spoken to people now on Cabinet TV who say, Pastor, can you take this 10 hectares? I want you to give me money so that I look for the job. Think of that thinking. And I say, my brother, you want to surrender 10 hectares to Cabinet TV, then go and look for a job.
After 6 months.
Mr. Mumba, my heart is bleeding right there because, like somebody said, the people in South Korea, they work so hard. You've been to South Korea.
Yes.
And Singapore, even Dubai. I am told the people work so hard that the government doesn't have to buy Panadol about this, to buy what. Once we become so self-sufficient as individuals, like Havazoka said the other day when I invited him here, he said, Pastor, why do people say the government has no money, has no gun? If the government has no money, it means the people don't have the money. Because the government taxes the people. When you get the tax from there, the government will do the work. Now, most of the people, like you are saying, Mr. Mumba, I also ask my wife, when we finish this program, whenever I'm giving somebody money, permanent traffic lights, I say, Iwe, don't waste your life. You find even a person, able-bodied person, valesa pano pa church, epaka amunet, tulefo kumona kufeva pastor chuwa, batupele kofie ndalama. I think that culture.
And that money you suffer from it. You suffer for it. I'll tell you, sometimes our families, you work very hard yourself, sometimes 0203 you are there. Na shenko shandine. Shonchulire. Then imwe kwisa tumave phone kwati nakanimoni ku bank. Oh, umwana ali pasa kuno tumeni ndalama. I don't have. Because surely what do you spend time on yourself? We kala kumushina lanji na kwata. Ngani ku northwestern there mines, you can grow tomato, you can grow cabbage. Narakupera 1,000 when I visit your home. Use your initiative. Kashite kwa seedlings. You plant. Ustish. Now, chiramwaka tutumineni kwa fertilizer. Watuma. They grow maize. Another year, it doesn't help. But again, you have the platform. First of all, our pastors have the platform of the churches. Maybe we must balance between encouraging people to prepare for heaven and also encouraging them to prepare for how they will live here while they're waiting to go to heaven. I think there must be that balance. Sometimes we have a Sunday by Pastor Chiruba. Walanda vepali ifine turelanda po. So that elo mulepe mboloka mkumana na mfumu. Ufela uleda buino pano. And for you have got this facility. I think the same way we come. Maybe kula bafia to. Certainly, even at the Royal NSS, they come here, they talk to our people, maybe our leaders, so that we try to change the mindset. On a lighter note, somebody was telling me yesterday. So abanene kula kuli ba church kuli so imo mulifendu kabia ni bakampele kwenchito. I said, you must have in now ile culture ulipie swapoka gratuity so tuti ta invest mulandi uye ubombe usurvive nechita bafira kupera abaite fo bakalamba tyo mkutanta mina kulia. And I'm sure this time, you know, you remember when President Chiluba won, abantu bale follow parapa government house waiting for jobs. There are very few jobs which the president can give.
Nero Basata Mr. Mumbazi are saying, yes. You know these things.
Yes.
When Basata won, we were driving with my wife. Nde akujim mulu chero pada mo melo mumba mujabareka. Nde akujim. Fasanga shimdana na shifwa na bwino. Namasuti na shitanda mashide pembe na tuamona. This is already vamona vale tuka Bali the president. You know they are there.
I'm sure.
Now,
I'm apologies, not Tampa.
I received a report today, Mr. Mumba, that this world is not fair. They've left President Lungu.
Which is immoral.
They've left President Lungu.
Yeah.
They are now seeking jobs from President-elect. I think this is prostitution.
No, it's not right. Eh? When there were good moments, and I say this with all the honesty, you know we never abandoned President Chiluba. The children are listening. Even when we were asked to go and testify against him, Honorable Mwansa is listening. I said no. We stood by him. Even when President Mwanawasa offered me a job, I went to talk to President Chiluba first.
Really?
Yes, I did that. Honorable Sulamba, I'm sure is listening. And Honorable Mwanga. I went to talk to him. Oh, President Banda, when he lost, I was constantly in touch with him. It's not correct that in a group, chimo chachitika, machita abandon umunenu.
Hello, Mwala, but tukanomba.
That's wrong. It's immoral, and it shouldn't happen. Those who are friends to President Lungu must remain friends with him for good. The reason I didn't betray Chiluba, President Chiluba gave me a job at a tender age and a very good job. I am what I am because of him. I could not have abandoned him in his hour of need. Never. President Banda gave me the honor of being a permanent secretary. Even in how we talk. It shouldn't be because he's a president. I visit him. We have lunch together. He calls me. That should be the way. You know, Marupandomwape, even in his problems, we were there for him as a former vice president.
But those, it's because of the morals and the principles that you have. But now, what I'm seeing, you see, I thank God for President HH. He was very clear and very slow, and he kept on repeating, you heard me, you heard me. He said, I am not going to treat you on preferential treatment. All of us must be Zambians.
Yes, yes.
But if you are kweva fiati va Mumba, now 2 days itaila pita, you abandon President Lungu.
Utakwaba.
Ulinoku as if he was a demon, he was the one who fiance fiati to alemweva. Fiance fiati. But when you were there, you were
Mwalemweva tamwa tuwebele. Mwalemweva tamwa tuwebele ko. Since tamwa tuwebele ko muituweba. It was in private. I've got some of my colleagues who are senior people in PF. I've called them. Some of them have visited them. Such when I went to Filachitika. If I ever had charity to put in 2011, Tatuafa, and you were there when we needed help, you helped us. And we know, even in this government, we have friends there. And when there's a need, they'll help. But to abandon your friend,
in the hour of need.
And friendship must be genuine.
But that said, Mr. Mumba, Mr. Director, do you have a picture? There is a picture that President HH and President Lungu had there. You know, this was today.
Yes, picture of the day.
Today. After he addressed the nation, and this is what we should encourage. Look at them. HH says he's not going to trouble you. He's not coming with vengeance. But President Lungu, I think when I saw this picture, I cropped it. I said it should come here. You know, Ulupato and the divisions. Now, let me say this. Thank you, Mr. Director. Thank you, Mr. Director. You can pick that. Imwemweva bomba na ba president. Nava kara bomba na ba HH. Kamisoke.
It's okay.
It's okay. You know, I saw something strange. When President Dr. Kaunda died, may he so rest in peace, we were at the Cathedral of the Holy Cross. President HH was seated the left side of the church. You were there?
No.
Vaikalile ku left of the church. The president was on the right. Parapekalava president, ku right kule. President HH stands up with his team to go and greet the president. It was very embarrassing. They stopped him from greeting the president. He just used his initiative, not that he was campaigning or what. He goes to greet. And there he was, talking for about 3-4 minutes. Every one of us, we are watching, until he was told to sit down. He never greeted the president. And I turned to my wife. How do you stop Bushe? Is he coming as a Taliban? Is he coming to... I want to say to the people of Zambia, especially those of you who surround the president, Vamumba, nimwe mufikosha nokupanga ma decisions yabo ndefo kuya munafi ba president akainde mwambo okukosha omuliro uyalefo okuchita. I think this nation, especially those who serve the president, Vamumba, mufireke. I'm addressing people through you.
True. Maybe I can also add there.
Yeah.
President Church hasn't yet appointed the staff. But what you are saying is very important. All I can say, don't ring-face the president. Allow him access to people. If a person, even like me, I say, I want to come and whisper something to the president, don't think I'm looking for a job, but whatever I did, and that's what kills us. Whatever I did, maybe some bench to. Oh, Pastor Chilo wants to come. No, my don't feel like I'm on a TV and the president block him. I think that is not right. We must allow the president. You know, if there's something you discover with presidents, but I'm going out of touch. Yes, because of the same system. Haven't you observed when you see a Zambian president? Ngalela ndefintu, wafumile mkomboni watawa. He's trying to tell you something. If Shiriko,
where ufumile compound anyway?
Yeah.
Everybody will clean the compound.
How there are people happy with me.
Yeah.
And saying things which have not happened. Why? Because we ring-fence the president and we cheat him. I can say with a lot of caution that some of the election losses, even we suffered, it was because we ring-fenced Arabi. You know? Now, when the man loses, he's alone. Apology and you jump ship. I think it's not fair. So, I think yes, it's important. Nama leaders, ministers, permanent secretaries, sometimes again, so even when you are telling the president to you're in all will be misinformed and out of touch. And you're telling Wakateka, Ichintu Chishiriko. And the man goes on TV and Alande Chintu abantu bale papat. When our president is out of touch. I end there.
No, I thought I should say this, Vamumba, because when you were at State House, president, did you hear na from State House at Vapasa Chua?
No.
I would just come to advise. Me, I'm a pastor. I sit down. Now, by the grace of God, my wife and I have this TV. You don't know how many people we connect with. And you sit, wamunacha palimbi, baleve pafyefiabofi, apabalechita. But naima, natikanjishibisheko, va president va Edgar Chagwa Lungu. That fair appointment is in himself. I can tell you, I've sat down with him. We have chatted like this. Very good person. But the people around, the Yonsefe Bamumba, me have got issues. I've got issues with people who surround the presidents. Whether they just want Amadilu, whether they just want, I don't know. He's a president of the people. Allow people to see him. Yeah. Anyway, Nalanda Chidikumukoshi through you.
Mukwai 12. On behalf of my former colleagues and my new colleagues who will be coming in, I think seriously it's important that I think we listen. To come and blame one individual at the end of it all,
it's not fair.
It's not correct. Sometimes you meet the president and says, I'm a Pamala. You know, I have been fighting to see the man. So that's, but because of that.
One person, just what you have said, 3 days ago, he was telling me, the president, Edgar Chagwalungu, told him, I want to see you at Seta. Twice, he told somebody. Yo, the president is busy. Just recently, the president lamented, but you know, Chila Kalipa. And me, I've saved this nation. All these presidents on a personal level. You know that.
Okay.
Songana Mona, Abadi Kuntansh, Ababi Nava, thank God I don't know President Aka in the Ichilema's lineup. Not that I want to see, like I said, I phoned him tonight. He picked up my phone. We chatted, and I congratulated him. You see, him and I have that personal relationship. I talk with him. But Ndela Ndelako, on behalf
of the many,
there is the President Lungu now. So many people can access him now. And where are those? Abalepo kendala mashami sebo, shafe taraiza, isha nani, echim kalipecho. So me, when you're here as a pastor, nde kalipa bamumba, ishi kalipa umulando wakwe bati, fingi fi pita mmana. So as you advise your fellow servants, muntu aliyekona message ine, ababene mkumanya, in case tabatambile program, atefe wa pastor chilu walanda pwefi. It's not fair. We are not going to go on break, Mr. Mumba. Let's open up the phone calls. Let's open up those of you that are watching from the United States, Canada, from Slovenia, wherever you are watching us from, the whole Zambia, please let's talk about something. Mr. Mumbandai are just looking at the elections. This has happened. We are looking just in general. What went wrong? What went right? Mr. Mumba, I can tell you what you have said, you have hit the nail on the head. And having been a top civil servant, I'm not saying that you were secretary to cabinet, but the position you held was very good. When you came to Senanga, the crusade there.
Right? They thought we had stage managed it.
When I was in Senanga, I didn't know President Chiluba was coming to Senanga.
Yes.
And the moment I started preaching, people thought, you see Chiluba, how...
Him and his brother.
Yeah, him and his brother. But was it not you who came to me and said, Pastor, tulea mukuta inspect you, museboku, tualata inspect, kuti mwaisa tupepelako. Is it not you who called me?
Yes, I'm the one.
And you provided the vehicle. Fuma Pajero Fiaku State House, Tuaya, and I was second, third from President Japa, late Kafumukache Meiso, and you put me here. The moment people saw, they said,
Crusade to a big use.
And others said, Mamona, I'm a political pastor.
Yes.
When I've never even been
a political. Given a lot of money to come.
Oh my goodness. But may God bless us, Ramumba. Take this message. Northwestern. Reverend Jibusha. I'll go there. Him and I will talk. I want to tour Zambia. We have 8,000, 9,000 now, Bamumba. People accredited with Cabinet TV, farmers. I can tell you, We have worked out, Mukesa Conference, we can contribute between $5 to $10 billion through agriculture and the programs we have put. And that money is not for the government, it is yours. Mwibala lyenu, mulepanga 500 million, naine ndepanga 500
Then
million.
you pay tax.
Then we pay tax. Why blame the government? And this is a program that we have. October 1st, Vamumba, na 2nd, Mukabeko.
I'll be there.
In those 2 days.
I assure you I'll be there.
I'm telling you. May the Lord bless you. Please feel free to give us a call. Feel free to give us a message with the President, Mr. Mumba. How shall we build this nation? How shall we work together? Forget about these divisions, tribalism, insults, and what. This is a time, Mumba, to forgive one another.
Oh yes. Start
I'm
afresh. Start afresh, forgive one another.
I look forward for President Hakainde. This has been my message, to call President Shimbakambwili, to call all these people who are on the PF side, to call these people and come together and say, let's have a meal.
For the sake of our
Let's
country.
pray together for the sake of the country. Not take on my
For how long?
For how long? I think we need something, a revolution of unity in this nation, a revolution and a culture yomwachilandapo iyakubomba, being a hard worker. Hello, good evening. Good evening, sir. What's your name and where you calling us from? Please speak a little bit louder.
Okay, my name is Manfred Lungowe.
Alfred Lungowe.
Manfred, yes?
Lungowe.
Yes.
Please speak. Are you in Lusaka where?
I'm in Lusaka in Tendere.
Please speak to the nation, Mr. Lungowe.
No, naramikira manyingi lwa new incoming lwa president. Apamuona kwa Pastor Silula la Wamumba. Pakapapangani ya development in my area. Yeah, there are some areas in my places where there are some chiefs in my province. But after the other places, give us the development. Now, Munga wanakambia wa Mumba kuti kumakasenta area kuja kulipina kuliwa anko wao. They didn't leave one side. So that's why kuliwa wachiti na maasista zao baba cheki na kuona tuanza in our area. She thought we are comfortable. So the issue I think in Inkaba is a very way. There are other chiefs. It's true. Then coming in Kuya, I'm a politician. I'm a politician. I'm not developing what I want to learn my election time. For example, Bangato was Kujundu Mwezi. Basi, Voti, Banatenga for 100. This time we were voted 50, but I think you have to 51 for 100, just at 100. So people, by so doing, not their sister. So this is a development that you have to make. But not doing it is what I want to do, is not what they want. So, in the development, I'm confirmed with your Mumba, family of Gamba. So, this is the Angama when we are doing in my area, especially my chief, the people of province, majority of it is in province of Mu, in the needing for areas we have right. So it's into Bama Chica today, if I mean one kind of my areas in Muja, they should report it. If they need, and when you be in Kuruakula, not to the Kuruakula, but in my town. But that's right. Just near the Saturday, but even I think the constitution is wrong. The master is to lead the leader to take away, don't report it. kama MP, makamaka, kama kazi, kama kumizima educator, don't know. Please, we end up pointing fingers at each other. Thank you.
Mkwai, I think the point is made is valid. Sometimes also you have that, where you coach people, wakateka ngabaisa, ifumilanda. So sometimes again, certain lower structures of the system or the government, you find that if the president or the minister is touring a school, the headmaster is taught the issue of toilet. I told you that I'm sorting it out. I don't want it to come out. The issue of the leaking bore, I don't want. So it's true. Sometimes our people at some levels, they don't help matters. Yeah.
They don't. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Oh, please drop the line and call again. Sorry about that. Would you say, Bamumba, people do that to maintain their jobs, or it's just a weakness where you stop allowing the president seeing certain things? When I was young, I remember President Kaunda coming to Kabwe. We were at Broadway. He came 1975 there, yeah. And all the roads, ifimu tifyonso kupenta Bamumba, mwali ama potholes. I'm sure at that time we were young. I was only 15 years. But you find 74, you find Bamumba. Natwimina fweba na be school. Umwale pitaba kaunda muli fimuti white eko bashapitile tabapentere fimuti.
I think at one time KK said,
there is a call. Let's pick up this call. Hello?
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, how are you?
Permanently blessed. What's your name and where you're calling us from?
This is Gilbert calling you.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Gilbert from Chirundu.
Yes.
Please go ahead and speak to the nation.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Mumba.
good evening, sir.
Yeah, I'm very happy the way you are working things. You know, sometimes we make mistakes that the people who surround the president. It's not just the president, but we are talking about these people who are high profile. What it is that the reason why you have said why is still done a lot. It was because of the people who surround it. And if they are who told them to say we are getting into the wrong direction, became the enemy of MMT. This is not different from the current president on the floor. There are a lot of people who cheated him. We saw it even when the citizen was announcing, towards the end. They were saying, we're winning the election. I think that's good to say, this election has been lost. So what I just want to urge is the change as he comes to form government. Let him not be taken by people. Actually, he has to embrace all those who seem to have different views from what he thinks is the right thing. And that will change. Usually, when I'm leading people, I don't usually like those who always say, no, you have done the best. I want you to going to think this is wrong. And they will make the mistake other than this wrong. When things get wrong, those who were cheering you will say, we knew it. They will not say, no, let's sit down and talk. They will say, I knew it will fail. But meanwhile, you have lost it and you have no control over what you have done. So, what is this for a new president? And may the retired president have the same plans for everything. And thank you.
Have you heard that valid contribution, ma'am?
Yeah, I think that's very important. You know, president is a very lonely job. It's a very lonely job. And it's up to the president himself to put a system which helps him get certain information. I'll tell you something. In 2011, when President Banda had left State House, one of her colleagues, who was a minister, was trying to drift her away to PF. So President Banda asked me to speak to that friend. You know what I was told? Iwe Mwafrika President Alusa Eka.
Ah,
Yes.
and this person worked with the president,
Yes.
Pierre Banda.
Yes. And that person moved to PF. Totally by it. President Mwafrika Alusa Eka. And I'm hearing a lot now, But you are part of the leaders. That's what I was saying. You are telling them in private, keep that. Yeah, so it's unfortunate. Yeah, because they just discover, and every president who has served this country, when they leave, go and talk to them, they will tell you what he's saying.
You know, I must disclose this, Ramumba. Do you know that during the campaign of these two political parties, all the political parties, do you know that Camnet, I'm not talking on behalf of people, do you know that Camnet was one of the only channel that covered both parties?
I was watching, I saw that, yeah.
Even the news.
Yeah.
Sometimes the editors, my editors in Camnet, they would bring these things which are not, they are amounting to insults by the PF. And I say, this won't fly. UPND will bring this. I look at this, I say, this won't fly. So my wife was constantly pulling out things. And sometimes you are labeled, oh, what PF, oh, what none. Let's pick up this call. But I'll tell you something after this. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine, sir.
What's your name and where you're calling us from?
I'm calling you from Kitwe.
From Kitwe. What's your name?
My name is Chimfwembe Daniel.
Chimfwembe.
Chimfwembe Daniel.
Please go ahead and speak to the nation.
Yes, sir. I'm and I'm very the program that you have come about to talk to the nation and to the people of Zambia at large. And as the youth of which we have elected our new legislation, I want to thank you for this program, because people of Zambia, they have good eyes, but yet they cannot see.
Yeah.
And this has come to get them that ignorance of not to be on their own, but to depend on people's pockets. Instead of which, you don't even go there, ask and I shall give, and you shall find. So if, as a people, nation, we put much effort on our own and we concentrate on our goal, this nation, we are going to develop it on our own, not depending on people's pockets. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mumba. Your reaction to what you have said, that most of us will depend on other people's pockets instead of developing this nation.
And it's important, he said, he's a young man. If the young man can realize that, I think we'll make progress. They must know that it's up to them. No one wants them. We as the brothers, the parents, we can only give them support. I always tell my kids myself that where is your grandfather? He's resting at Chingora Road Cemetery in Kitu. Where is your grandmother? She's also there. It's me enjoying the fruit
Of their
their labor. We are being beaten. Chakatimiye ku school, mwakoneka munjanji, mwamukika tefipaso, and all sort of nonsense. Bakuma iwapatira pana bawiso. But they kept it. So it's incumbent upon the youth. Times have changed. The white collar jobs are not there. God has given them hands. Because sometimes no capital. Yara inama wakoba kupela.
Ni capital.
For me, what I normally do, I would find this man struggling with 5 bags of charcoal. Happy, maybe 0.5. I'm coming from the copper belt. Or
I
0.4.
know. I know.
And I normally stop. Now, what I've done 200, never pay. Because he's working very hard to survive. When you are driving in Lusaka, Zesco area or post office, I always give way. Because Sangawela Walumendo, Nasen de Fin to Pali, but if you are fina,
Sana.
he's
Sana.
struggling and people are honking, hey, get out of the road. I don't do that. Because I appreciate them like Tabale Iba. And if young people can throw its pale away, then we'll get somewhere. Mula mnafana ngufulonga ino fiesu. Nga mwae baba itakifimia niko fana nguifu puna panse.
Yeah.
Wale uleja kuba kashana first. Abo tawafu aya, abo tawenda nabo. Just, you can't lift your chair because padu mkashana. But that's not the life. Real life, you must work hard. Not on some internet, and just playing around. The world is not meant
the
for
social media, they spend more time.
Emkwe.
You know, monachi na reading culture na ya. Because they spend more time
Emkwe.
on if you kulalo le shafif.
But I'm happy, and I thank God. I've trained my children differently. All of them, they are young, but they run a lot of things. And people get surprised, you man knowledge this. Because if we don't train them, wow.
And the Bible says, train up a
Yes.
child.
And I tell them, when did I leave the government job? We were fired by President Sata, 2011. You all go to a private school. If you fail to go to school, no. You are in foreign universities. If you fail to go, no. You see the time I come back here, you see how I drive long distances, working hard.
Let's pick up this call, Mr. Hello?
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Okay. Mr.
You are Victor Mumbi.
Yes.
From where are Mumbi? Mufurira, please go ahead and speak to the nation.
Yes. I just want comment or position that have been read and think that
You are not so clear. Are you hearing?
I'm getting to the
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, Master. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, yes. I want to comment the man of the family.
Mr. Mumba, yes?
Yes, Mr. Mumbai, actually, the door the one working, and this is what the nation. And we are present for all, and what was.
I think the last words I didn't hear. If you heard, before we take up the calls, he was just commending you for the way you're talking about the hard work,
Yes.
the way you've trained your children. I think that part.
No, it's important, like I was saying, my daughter, she can go and supervise people dressing chickens the whole night.
Really?
Yes. She can go to the pottery, which is far, some 10, 15 kilometers from Saka. If there's a problem, and I've told them.
Your daughter?
Yes. And I've told these guys, I will not be there all the time. If you don't get involved in these things,
Absolutely.
because the money you use to go there, it's from me. So if you could COVID, we're all together here. We have to work together here. If we have to go to the farm, we go together. Sometimes they go and do the work. What am I saying? We must encourage our children and young people. But now we feel ready. Because sometimes they think that you are punishing them. The internet you have in the house, we pay. That Wi-Fi, we pay for it.
Absolutely.
And that money to the TV you're enjoying, we pay. The decoder you have to watch Arsenal and whatever,
Everything.
we pay. So as you are growing, let's partner together. So that you appreciate where money comes from. So that even when you are giving me demands, when I say Ndalamatapali, na when I takuli. So our children must be responsive.
Absolutely.
Not to kula pitana from Munguru Abaiche, Kumanda you, Levi Paki. For me, I love children when they, and I tell them, when you have worked hard, then you tell me, no, our friends are saying we have some function, not you just come, no, there is a party this side, oh, my friend has a farewell party, my friend's brother has a party, and
Blowing, they had labored for money.
No, our children must know. I'll tell you something about Pastor, and I'll come back to share with you. Have you seen what's happening in the wildlife sector? If you go to South Luangwa, Lower Zambezi, Kafue National Park, for when Zambia we are not there. If you pale fakala mulusaka kula pitana ve Mukairo Road Kabulonga, you know, abasungu bali campinga kulia. For a foreigner, the tourist to go to South Luangwa, they are paying $400, $500 per person per night. If you cost the lodges today, this period, they are off with South Luangwa. So if you have 10 rooms, maybe having between 10 to 20 people every night. Now,
And that is a lot of money.
it's dollars. So multiply $500 times 10 people in a night. That's $5,000
$5,000 per day.
per day. Well, we never they are spending money, they are investing. That's why you are seeing some of these hotels, some of these flats we are seeing in Lusaka, buildings, shopping malls. Number 4, Lusaka. 17 hours, 16:30 to have my office, Kukawata, Nakuma clubs. You know, we have so many clubs.
Napanandos.
Just to go and drink and I think we need to change our mindset. And again, I don't know to the blame. Sometimes because if all my children know, daddy from the office in the club, from the office in the club, they think that's life.
It's normal.
They even the time you start well up. Now for 22 hours, I'm kuchilisha na about 21 to 30 Africa.
30 minutes na yo
Waingira. We check your bedroom, I remove book, I didn't. So I like my perform. So we owe it to ourselves. Yes, like you said, Pastor, the president has been elected. If I want to work hard, 5 years down the line, I'll be complaining. I owe it to myself.
I was telling you, President, Mr. Mumba, that, you know, Camnet TV covered this passionately.
I saw.
Without favoritism. Sometimes you have even 1 or 2 members of staff thinking you are PF, you are UPND. Those things don't bother my wife and I. We say as pastors, we will be straight.
But you know when I'm being accused like that, it's very nice. Because then you are neither. There are people who say, campaign, UPND. Okay. Others also, he doesn't want to work with us. This one is PF. That's better. Because you are neither.
Now, you know the point I'm bringing,
Okay.
Mr. Mumba. One day, I go to State House. The President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, may God bless him, he was a cabinet, even now, probably is watching. Nabamayowa Esther. They watch this. I said to him, Mr. President, me, I cover the opposition and this. He says, that's how it's supposed to be, Pastor. The President didn't talk about me covering the opposition or what. But Mwalish Boko left mama phone. Kuliaba.
Finish for next sticker.
Pastor, ngatwa wina mukeshwe ukwevati you are not bigger than the institutions we have closed. I never heard a word from the President, not even from Mama Ova Esther. But ababe naba. Echo na kwatira obulwi naba.
Nabantu bantu.
Abantu
I am part of them. I come from that background. No, I come from that background, and sometimes I wouldn't want to justify myself because obviously maybe so what is important is that you are talking about these things so that we learn, and at the same time it gets to our heads. I'll tell you, some of the colleagues who end up at State House our own young people, those who are coming in our homes, they get to State House, they can't even pick up calls. So you just watch them, because sometimes they're just trying to help them, to say, but what we normally forget, we hold those positions in trust on behalf of the people of Zambia. Simple. You can be a special assistant, you can be principal private secretary, senior private secretary, permanent secretary, minister. You are holding those positions in trust. Each time I meet vehicles I used to drive at Vice President's office, then I remember that really that vehicle belonged to the Zambian people. Because when I left the Vice President's office, I'm transferred to Northwestern, the vehicle remained. And these offices, like many of my friends who learn now, they will leave these offices. Even the ones President Hichilema will appoint, at some time,
they will leave there.
They will leave. We are not the first ones to go there, and we are not the last. That big-headedness which we get involved in too. And me, I've got a friend of mine, I didn't get permission to quote him. We always say, Ulana Tumpa, because the PS number, and I'm special assistant. You and me to receive back. We will come back. Time has come to welcome a lot of my friends
back.
And so really, it shouldn't get to our heads that we use those positions to even threaten people. It doesn't. How do you feel in Chitoyapwa? Elo kama na TV yako itiri. Elo wakumanya wa pastor.
Yeah.
It is not worth it. When you come out, because it's like we're on a tour of duty. When you come out from there, you should be comfortable to come here without shame. So for my friends who are getting appointed this time around, remember, it's a tour of duty. You will not be there for life. Don't forget your friends, maintain your friends, because when you come out, it can be very lonely. Thank God it was never lonely for me, because I don't forget friends. So for you being appointed, take note. You guys will be coming back from 12 duty, we'll wait for you, we'll welcome you, and show you a few ropes you might have forgotten because of comfort.
And which minibuses to board?
Which minibuses to board, and which one is the shortcut to where?
Mr. Mumba, let me pick up some messages. Let's just dedicate this to messages so that I'm not accused. I know we are out of time. Mr. Director, good evening, Pastor Chiluba and former PS. Good program to heal our problems which surround us all. Zambians have shown that it is a Christian nation, and this wonderful lesson must be in all of us. J. Sakala from Kitwe.
My town.
May the Lord bless you. Your town?
My Kitwe.
Uriba Nankana.
Abana Kitwe.
Good evening, Pastor and Mr. Mumba. After listening to the speech of President-elect on foreigners taking up jobs which Zambians can do, what is your advice on how this problem can be addressed? We will take over those jobs, don't worry. Another text. Good evening, Pastor. Wish to recommend you for this nice program. Mr. Mumba is articulating issues very well. It is my prayer that the incoming president handlers will pick one or two things from this program. From Brother K. Chileshe.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You see, you are giving solid advice. Good evening, Pastor Chiluba and Mr. Mumba. National cake must be shared equally, like in Kaunda era as stated by Mr. Mumba, not like we have seen the projects in PF-RU, GKM Chingola. We have heard Mr. GKM. Thank you so much. We are thankful for good counseling on hard working from you, Pastor Chiluba, and Elder Mumba, from Moses Mudala from Chona.
Kwasiabuti mulamu kwasiabuti kuchoma. Tulibayo mumubaye ba sister.
Good evening, Pastor Chiluba and Mr. Mumba. Nice program, and thank you so very much for you, our advisor, I think. What's that, Mr.?
Our advisor in our mother Zambia. Well spoken.
Well spoken, and we are following. Continue teaching the truth. Thank you. This is Chandra from Chingola, Zambia. Thank you so much. Good evening, Pastor Chiluba and Mr. Mumba, of course. The program is very insightful. Please continue with your wonderful counsel to all Zambians. God bless you. This is Chimbala from Mufurira. Thank you, Mr. Chimbala. Thank you so much. Good evening, Pastor. Pastor, you are saying the facts, and you should advise the president not to appoint wrong advisors as the ECL did. Moses Muzeya from Solwezi.
Tune mushimwanta.
Tinakusakulirako mwana. Did I say the right thing?
Yes.
What's your word to that? I know there are a lot, thousands of messages.
No, we are grateful. All we are doing is to share our experience and what we think and our knowledge, nothing personal. Personally, I'm known to both President Lungu very well, President Ichilema very well. So whatever we are saying,
it's out of love.
It's out of love, and we mean well. Even when we are criticizing, we have to say these things. My late father told me, if you fear so we must speak these things, and we are speaking them. Only the President Ichilema has been declared winner. But
not
pakubwela. We are saying these things in good spirit. We are saying these things not because we will minimalist to President Lungu. He's my elder brother. He's our big brother. But we saw certain things which we don't want to see. He may not have noticed it, but we saw certain things which we don't want to see going forward. President Ichilema has come in, a mandate from the whole country. I know you try to do that which has promised us, but above all, every Zambian, Chadiza, Kasempa, Chilubi Island, Kaputa, Sinazongwe, they must feel that they are Zambians. They must feel that the president is there. And above all, let me even say this. We want to see discipline in the government. You can't have abantu chilande fee. Ministers must behave, must speak with decorum and honor. Ministers cannot just say no. Cadarism that will fire. Cadres must be controlled. We are starting.
I think they won't be controlled. The president, in his words, and the officials there, they are saying no more cadres.
Yes.
Yeah.
We want this to be implemented.
Not just talking.
We don't want cadres infringing on people's land, on the road driving the way they want, on top of buses, insulting people. Ngamakwata misfortune kumanda kuliba kada mwala tukwa. I think we must have order. Discipline. If a minister says something which is divisive, sack them, Mr. President. Sack them. Kutamfia. Minister like that divide chalo, matamfia. Minister ulela na chilandelande, censure them. And the public, sabaila mubantu, censure them. These are some of the things which have caused problems. So for me, discipline must be seen. People must say things as leaders. When you are given a responsibility as a minister, be responsible. You are a national leader. You don't come from one area and insult the rest. You are a national leader. Because you are exercising that power, Pastor, on behalf of the president.
Yeah.
The chief minister is the president. So, ministry, you are representing the president. So, mind what you say. If you don't mind what you say, and you are not getting disciplined, I want to punish the one who gave you the job. We don't want to see that happen. I thought I should say that.
It's very important.
Now, to imagine, we don't want to see Chilandelande Kuntungulushi. Mind what you say in public. Anywhere you go in Zambia, as a Zambian minister, as a Zambian leader, respect the people. Arrogancy, we don't want.
Are you also encouraging the incoming ministers to be polite, Kubantu?
That's what I'm saying.
Are they also supposed to be seeing members of the public, or because my ministers?
No. That's why we are saying these things. People don't want to see people, they become arrogant and stubborn. We want to see, you can be arrogant, maybe it's your nature, but try to respect the people.
But you see that in my endeavor, wanting to build this nation, and from all angles, sometimes I've not even been seen by PS.
Which is very bad.
I go there, they refer me to your director, or pastor will call you. I feel so bad that a PS, I can't see him. The minister, I don't know why. Like you are saying, when people go into those offices,
you know, when I was in Solwezi, and people of Solwezi, if they are listening, they'll tell you, I found that there's some complaints. So I introduced the open door policy. From 9 to 14 hours, anyone can come and see me. And I told my secretary, it doesn't matter who they are. Then I restricted certain days for 2 hours and certain hours. Once I finish, maybe I go for lunch at 15, 16, come back at 17:30. Then once I want to know, I wake up to 22 hours to try and respond to these same things. And I learned it from President Chiluba, because he also gave us certain days to say, once I let to ma, these are the days. I think he gave us, if you remember, I think it used to be Thursday. At once about Tuma, not either Tiama ministers, Tiavanto government. Common people would write or call to say, I want to come and see the president. So when I went to Northwestern, I tried to implement that, because I thought that we may not do it 100%, but we must take steps. Yeah. What we must be doing is to learn from the failures of others. There has been a lot of lessons all of us have learned the last 5 years. Our colleagues who are coming in, the Zambians, they saw, they know what Zambians were not happy about. Their role is to change and be better. Zambians that as long as I criticize you because you are the one in that position, and the same things, we shouldn't go that route. And really, chalo chesubonse.
And like you are saying, I've seen some NGOs who are so critical of the government, nga bayingira mu government, balatalala kwati menshi. You know, and some people just speak tukave bakateko nga babasenda munani.
By the time I listen to the Kalaka Bulwele for cover, Miss Malum Fana, in a Kalabon Faka any Joa.
Hamba.
Once I got a Bible, a suit, and a tie. And again, that's why maybe it's the way we pick leaders. We need to start us analyzing our people. We need to pay leadership at this level. Are we very sure actually in Giramom? Because if you are going to use an NGO to criticize, and when you get in government, you start doing the same things you are criticizing. And the biggest victim are my friends from the labor union. I think you have seen over the years. I don't want to talk about my big boss, President Chilo, but people from the unions, you are given to be PS labor, a former labor leader. But one which type effect Flavin our criticize. I think we need to be genuine. Okay.
Well, we have come to the end of this broadcast, Mr. Mumba. I wish we could be here. These journalists, during this campaign, they've been spending their nights here.
Yes, yes.
And they come in the mornings, the whole day, the whole night.
So that
they
we
are
see
here.
the news also in the morning.
So that you see the news. I think we have to come to, we must come back and talk again, because I need you, Mr. Mumba. This nation needs you until we change people's mentality and mindset. On behalf of my wife, Pastor Victoria Chilova, on behalf of the Healing Word Ministries, on behalf of the Camnet TV viewers, and also the people who are making this broadcast to come to you live, the technical people, may God bless this nation. Once again, we congratulate President Hakainde Hichilema, President-elect, and we thank God for President Edgar Chagwa Lungu for the works that you have done. We can't rubbish everything. You are a great man, and may God bless you. May God unite this nation. And I would like to thank my guest, Mr. Mumba, for his input always when he comes on this set. We value your contribution.
It's my pleasure.
Until next time, keep watching Camnet TV, and remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel. Bye-bye, and may God bless this great nation of Zambia.
Good night.
Amen.